We have with us co-founder of Square Technologies, Mr. Taran Patel, with us today on campus. He is available on campus today. And this company is associated with Charuset since so many years. And this company is our recruiter. Our alumni are working there. So, Mr. Tarang Patel, sir, he is an entrepreneur and CEO of VSource company also, which is in London, UK. It has offices in UK, Canada, Spain, and India, and various other locations. Sir has done his engineering degree from DDU, Nadiad in 2000, and he is associated with AMA, Ahmedabad Management Association, from 2002. So I request sir to guide our students today about the expectations of the companies from freshers and on what are the things they should focus on from now onward, from now only, so that they can be industry ready. And when they approach companies or when they apply for the companies, such qualities should be there in them from this time only, like from first year what they should learn about the technologies or the attitude or the aptitude they must inculcate in themselves. Sir, I request you to take over the session and guide our students.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure to see this count of 342 of all of us on this call, which is a virtual call, which has become a norm of our life now. But it's really amazing to speak to all of you. I used to be an engineering student about 20 years ago. I graduated in year 2000 from DDIT University. And in 20 years, I have seen a lot of different trends in the industry, being an entrepreneur, having set up our own business, having recruited students from all over Gujarat in different universities internationally, and having some star performers in our company also who come from Charusat. It's very special to be here with all of you. Now, I was trying to think what value I can add to all of you, whatever plans, vision, expectation, aspiration you have in your life. And I was just looking at the general journey that I took, like about after graduating in year 2000, me and some of my classmates, we used to sit on the same bench together. We decided to go into business. So, we made that decision to become entrepreneurs and start our own business. Amit sir, your dean, he joined this organization. He was probably the first employee of the university, and he joined some other vision. And after 20 years, I look at my class batchmates. There are people who work for Google. There are people who have like 500 people reporting to them from Accenture and TCS. They have an IT director role. There are people who adopted SAP as a platform, people who went into technical programming, testing, engineering, and all walks of different life. So we all came from different walks of life. We spent 4 years in the university together, and we all took our own journey all across the world in different parts of the world. And everybody has some achievement in their life, and it's been like 20 years of since we graduated. So some of the things I would like to share with all of you, and I welcome your questions also after we have discussed about any specific questions you have. But based on what the professors here have asked to share with you, I would say that everybody will come from a different background, different gender. You will have different inclination and interest. I'm assuming some of you want to go overseas to do further studies. Some of you want to join industry. Some may want to become entrepreneurs. So each one of you will have thought about what you want to do. Some of you, if you have watched the movie Lakshya, and you know what Hrithik Roshan said, he heard that he said that agar घास काटने वाला बनो तो भी best घास काटने वाला बनो. So some of you may be in a stage where you don't know, you have time to decide what you want to do with your life and what the future lies and has in store for you. At all these stages, one thing I would say is just understand and identify yourself, what your passion is, what makes you happy, and try to make a career choice which is aligned with your passion and something that you will feel happy about enjoying, whether it's you'll feel happy about going to work and enjoying to do your work. So that's, I think, one key thing that you need to understand. From an industry perspective, industry usually has an environment like any organization that you join. You will go through the training exercise within the organization. So they will give you the necessary skill background. There will be senior people who will mentor and train you on various areas. So those things will you will have an infrastructure when you join industry. But one of the things industry expects is people to have some sort of domain knowledge. So if you go to an industry, it would be nice that you have good general knowledge, you have good understanding of, for example, if you join banking system, then if you had a general curiosity about how your bank account is operating, what transactions when you put money in the bank account, how it's crediting, how it's debiting and everything. So when you join a banking sector as a role as a developer, you are able to visualize the domain requirements, the end user requirements, and the job of programming is to fix and address those kind of requirements. So try and get as much overall knowledge of various sectors or industry that you want to go into. If you want to specialize in cloud, try and read about applications of cloud, scalability, hosting, how something like WhatsApp, I am assuming almost all of you use WhatsApp. So try to think that why some simple application like this now has over 1 billion users in the world, how it started maybe 10 years ago or 7-8 years ago, and how it has become so popular. What kind of UX UI decisions the founders of WhatsApp would have made. WhatsApp, when it was acquired by Facebook, it maybe had about 25-30 employees. Each employee was a millionaire or a billionaire when Facebook acquired them for 16 billion. So they looked at a problem of people staying in touch with each other and without any cost, and they visualized and they created a solution. So the 7-8 buttons that you see, or features or functionality that you see on the WhatsApp application, think about based on what you have learned in your third semester, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh semester, whatever you learn, just understand how application of that works within a lot of other areas, or have general curiosity about things that you interact with, systems and processes that you interact with when you make a railway reservation, airline reservation. Try to ask questions like, how does Make My Trip have all the information about all the airlines? How would the reservation entry go into a database? If you had to disrupt that market through blockchain, how you would do? So that, I think, general curiosity and interest is one area which I think everybody should keep alive and nurture. The other thing is pay attention. This is very common, but pay attention in all the subjects that you have. Just try to understand the concepts at a conceptual level, general understanding, as opposed to just passing the exam. So focus on more practical knowledge, realistic knowledge in each of the subjects that you study. Besides that, you may have some special interest in different areas, like some of you may want to become Python developers, some of you may want to do AI, machine learning, some may want to build a career in UX UI and everything. So keep general reading. There is a lot of information online. So keep general reading and everything going on about those areas where you want to go, and stay in touch with whatever the latest trends in the industry are. If some of you want to do MBA, further studies, go overseas, plan in advance, like, from maybe 1 or 2 years before you are looking to give your GRE, TOEFL, IELTS exam, plan in advance so there is no rush at the last minute. You got things planned and under control. If you have more time to plan and everything, choose your university very wisely, uh, very clearly see what they are teaching and everything. If anybody wants to pursue career in MBA and everything, I would suggest, highly recommend that have 2-3 years of industry experience before you go into management studies and everything. And my favorite topic is entrepreneurship. I'm an entrepreneur myself. If you want to start your own business, uh, follow your dream, follow your vision, have the guts, the courage, and work hard to achieve it. It is possible. India has incredible opportunities in technology. There is immense opportunities. So go ahead, get industry experience if you like, build knowledge and everything. But if you have this entrepreneurship kiddo in you, then definitely make sure that you pursue that as well. Um, I think I would like to take questions. So if you want to ask any questions, any specific things I can help you with. My general information so far is very generic, but I welcome your questions now.
Yes, Krutaj, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Myself, Krutat Desai. So, sir, as you said that you are an entrepreneur, so I just want to ask that when you started with your entrepreneurship, even after means researching through the market, you may have uh, basically started with something of a service type structure. So,
Correct.
how did you basically got the idea of the price ratings in the market and applied it in your business?
Okay, so Krutarth, I think me and some of my friends, when we started the business together, we were a bit lucky. Somebody in USA found our CV online, and they offered some projects to us, and they decided the money that they would pay us. And when we got the opportunity, the first thing in year 2000, when there was not as much broadband internet, fiber optics, and all those things. So first thing we said was that we now have the project. We need an office. The most logical thing was, okay, internet we get in cyber cafe. You guys are too young to even know what a cyber cafe
Exactly.
is. Uh, so we went to a cyber cafe and we said that we are 4 engineers. We want a small room, and he thought that આ બધા મારું computer free માં repair કરી આપશે. So let's give them a rental space, and that's how we started. So we were a bit lucky that opportunity found us. We always wanted to do something, but we are lucky to have the opportunity knock on our door. And for 1-2 year, we thought we were in business, but it was more like, there was a salary coming from USA. But the moment we started getting new customers, talking for new projects, then we realized the real world of service industry. Lot of Indian IT companies are focusing on service. About 4-5 years ago, we made a focus on product also. So now we have our own cloud-based
Good.
applications for various
Okay.
verticals. Service industry gives you exposure to different verticals. We work in banking, finance, property tech, uh, software development, software companies, tourism, travel, uh, healthcare, very diverse verticals we work with. But yeah, main thing is like, when you're looking at starting your own business, sometimes a good educational background is useful and some industry knowledge is also useful. But if you have an idea like what Mark Zuckerberg had for Facebook, you don't need to wait for industry knowledge. Just go ahead, follow your passion. Life is too long, too big. You can always come back and join the industry if things don't work out. But don't let go of that ambition or vision.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, any other student? Yes, 20 DIT 089, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Hello, sir. Myself, Mufis Chanagar. And sir, my question is about that. What problem do you face, or what mistakes do you face during your career? So that will be help us, like we will be aware from the beginning.
Okay. Mufis, very good. Mufis, a very good question. I was addressing the faculties here. And one of the things we had a wrong perception when we are doing engineering, and I don't know if that uh, philosophy or psychology still exists, but one of the misunderstanding we had was that if anything that is very hard to achieve is the best thing, right? So at that time, C, C++, Java programming was very complex, and we thought that database development, support, or this testing are not complex, and maybe that's not the best thing to pursue a career in. When you go to industry, you realize that everything is important. A testing engineer will also get a very good salary. A database engineer will also get very good salary. So you don't really have to follow what everybody does. If everybody is doing AI machine learning, it's not necessary that you have to follow the same thing. The industry is very huge, very vast. When you go to the industry, you will work with people from chemical engineering, mechanical engineering, civil engineering branch, and they all have amazing general knowledge about their industry. So that's one pitfall of being a student and not knowing about the industry, is where people may make a wrong decision to say, okay, Python is very hot, I need to learn Python. That's not the case. It's very vast industry. You can pick your passion. You can choose whatever you like, and everything has great opportunities.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Students. Any other student? Yes, Samaksh.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, Samaksh.
So, sir, you're working since 2000, right?
Yes,
You have seen the boom of digital age and digital world and social media.
correct.
So, and right now we are in the trend of automation and AI. So, sir, what according to you will be the next trend or the next big thing in technology?
Okay, so I think what you uh, are hearing already about disruption with blockchain, AI, machine learning, IoT. These things you already are aware of, but I will explain why the time is right for all these technologies. Like, for example, for big data, machine learning, AI, we used to learn that. We used to learn expert systems in year 2000 when we were doing our engineering. So some of these things are not new, but why the time is right for this is that there are a lot of technologies that are maturing at the same time. Like in the past, when somebody wanted to analyze big data, there was not enough processing power, computing power, bandwidth, speed of internet, 5G, and all those things. So, because all these things are peaking at the right time. All these new emerging technologies like big data, machine learning, AI, cloud computing, this even genetics and human genome, all those like DNA architecting and things like that. Because of that, the first time in the history of the world, like for example, when television was invented, it ruled for 50-60 years. After 40 years of radio being invented, and internet has had a prime period of 20-25 years and everything. All these technologies, they are all maturing and converging at a time which will completely disrupt. Like in 5 years time, we will be having autonomous cars. The whole concept of owning a car may be disrupted, and it will be faster than what we think. Like when I bought my first Nokia phone, I didn't know that the processing power that whole our computing lab had, our department of computer in DDIT had. My mobile phone will have more processing power than that, and it's only been 20 years. So this convergence of all these technologies is the future, and it will disrupt life in general. So not just job and job prospects and everything, the way we interact with government, the way employment is created, the way machines and robots and all those things will come in our life. It will disrupt everything, and this is the best time to be in the IT industry for all of us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, Jay Desai.
Sir, I would like to ask, like during the coronavirus, we faced that many workers they started working from home. So
Yes.
is it possible that like a company can run equally as it did before coronavirus, where all the workers are working from home? Does it affect any way to the company?
Very good question, Jay. Jay, I'm going to digress a little bit. Jay, what's your vision in life? आपको क्या करना है after finishing degree here?
I'm thinking of doing masters, and then I might open up a company of myself.
Okay. And where do you want to do it? India or overseas?
I'm planning for overseas, Canada or America.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine. No, Jay, I was just curious about that. Now, there is currently no trend. Like, when COVID came, everybody thought that when it will end, when the virus will come. When the virus came, everybody thought when it will have mass immunity and everything. So similarly, the verdict on work from home or work from office is still a big question. A lot of today's Financial Times newspaper, today they have said that big tech is the first company, like big tech means Google, Apple, and those kind, Facebook, and all those people. They are the first company who are looking to bring people back to their office, and the bosses say that they miss their employees, they love their employees. That is not true. It's because they think that the productivity is best when people interact with each other face to face instead of sitting behind a screen. So big technology have started calling people back to the office, but that's an advantage for smaller companies, startups who can offer work from home to their staff permanently. And there are companies like Dropbox and other companies who said that whenever we create a culture where there is office and there is home, the person who goes to the office always has an unfair advantage because the manager will give them promotion, they will be closer, and remote people will not have representation. So they completely stop the concept of office. So office no longer is required. So some companies are going in that direction where they don't want office at all. They want a truly global organization and remote organization. Some companies are adopting a hybrid model, and some companies are worried about security, intellectual property, all those things. and they may start bringing people back to the office also. So it will be a completely changed world. A lot of people are enjoying working from home. There is no travel time, no journey time. So, it will be difficult for people to go back to the original way, and a hybrid model will come out of it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And it's a good question, because in 2-3 years time, you will have to, whenever you graduate, you will have to make that decision about what kind of company to join. And you will pick one of those models for your own career choices as well. So good question, thanks.
Yes, Pat, can you unmute yourself and ask?
Uh, since your first year of engineering in college, till this day, you would have done plenty of projects. So my question to you is, what kind of approach a student, whether a BTech student or an MTech student, should follow in his or her own project, so that it narrows the gap between being an industry aspirant and being a technically ready person for doing the real time projects?
Okay. Parth, again, incredible question. Very important thing to address initially. I remember when I was writing our first, one of the first applications, I did not understand the concept of how accounting system works, invoice, purchase order, sales order, and everything. So more than being baffled about the business logic or the programming code, the business requirement understanding was a little bit difficult initially. And then I had to read up about accounting principles and everything. So each one of you will work in different dimensions, very different dimensions, or verticals, industry sectors, and everything. So whenever you do the project, first think about the end user. So what am I building? Who is the end user of this platform? How can I make the end user's life easy? Some of the world's best products have come out of that thought process and thinking, like Uber, Airbnb, Expedia, Amazon. It's all about convenience for the end customer. So always think from the end customer's perspective, who will use your software. So you are artist, you are creating an piece of art. You need to see how it will be perceived by people who look at that art, consume that art. So think of like a movie director of your creation, and plan things accordingly. You use the word very well, industry aspirant to industry expert. So that journey is defined by trying to learn everything as much as you can from your environment, people you work with, and very keen, genuine interest in the business needs that you're going to address.
And sir, I have one more question. What is your secret of staying motivated during the timeline of the project? I mean, it is happening with me whenever I do my personal projects. At the beginning, I'm very much motivated. I'm very much confident that I would be, this time I would be doing this perfectly. Then slowly and steadily that motivation starts degrading, and at the end I goofed up a little, and then I'm not able to achieve what I wanted to. So you must have faced this similar situation somewhere in the past. So what was your secret of staying motivated during this kind of timeline?
Yeah, and Parth, you are not alone. How many people here have started with a resolution on New Year's Day, like go to gym, learn some new skill, do something, and how many people have given up? So this is the human nature. There is nothing wrong with that. The only advice I would give is that whenever you make some plan or you project, think of it in small parts. Think of it as a bite-sized problems, and get excitement and motivation in doing small things. Once you do that, like a gym membership, don't think like you want to become Hrithik Roshan on day one. just do 2 push-ups, 10 push-ups, and slowly and gradually. So in a project environment, try to think of small achievements, small wins. And the beauty of our industry is that now we have things like agile methodology, which imposes that philosophy, not just on an individual, but the whole team. So, if you follow, I don't know if you learn agile practices in university, but when you go to industry, it will be a very important thing where it's all about celebrating small achievements, thinking of small deliveries, small components, one at a time. And that way the whole project is delivered on time, on budget, and with same level of excitement as beginning.
And sir, one last question from my side. How much importance do you give to the communication skills, rather, a tactical communication, general communication, or overall communication, in order to become a successful engineer, entrepreneur, or a successful professional in industry?
Yeah. Again, very good question, Parth. Two things: language and fluency in language is different to communication. So if anybody is from Gujarati medium, cannot speak fluent English, they should not be worried about it. Industry doesn't care about how good your English is, whether you can write a poem or you can give a speech like Shashi Tharoor. What the industry cares about is your general understanding and communication. So communication is very important. You need to be articulate. We are solving problems when we do programming. We are solving problems. To solve problems, you need to understand problems. And to understand problems, you need to have good communication, articulation thing. And somebody, I think I was listening to a TED talk, like in some language, like there are 16 or 17 ways of describing snow or ice. The reason they need it is if they are living in Alaska, they have to describe different types of ice, right? So what that means is that they can perfectly tell somebody what the temperature of snow or ice is based on the name it is given, right? So communication is such a tool where the more strong conceptual knowledge of a problem you have and you are able to communicate, you will definitely stand out in the industry. If you are able to be emotional about what you are doing, if you are able to present your work well, you will get better marks than everybody else, you will get better promotion and everything. But it's not about language, it's about pure sheer understanding and communication.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, Krutarth.
Sir, one more question from my side. Sir, recently I just went through an article regarding some program that has been launched by GitHub, in which like whatever thing we want to develop, we just need to write it and it is developed automatically. So, do you think that the job of developers are being in some kind of danger? We can't use the word danger, but yet most of the you just need to write something and it has been developed in the software.
Yeah.
So what are your views on this particular thing?
Yeah. So I think it's called the no code language, where you talk to the system and system will create the application and everything. It's at an early stage of its maturity, it will come. But Krutarth, when cars or bikes were invented, people were worried that the horses that are on the road, whether there will be employment. When typewriters were invented, people were worried that people will write. Computers were invented, people thought all the jobs will be lost. So industry keeps on evolving. Any technology that makes human life efficient is not going to disrupt employment. We will find better things to do with our life. So it's never going to be a concern. There will be, even if there is automation and robots doing human jobs, human beings will find other better things to do with their time. So evolution and change is a necessary component. It will always happen. Nobody can stop it. But something else always comes and takes over.
Also, sir, means like for some people, it may be a thing that they may be interested in both of the fields, that is development as well as machine, that is artificial intelligence. So
Yeah.
at this point, we may have a confusion that if like such a immense trend, immense evolution is going to come, that just by writing you can do development part, then why not to go in AI? So at this point, how we should think? So
Yeah.
this is my question to you, that is like I myself have somewhat more interest in the field of development, but
Yeah.
I also have interest in artificial intelligence. But so at some factor I just feel that if like technologies are like this are going to come, then there may be some issues. So
Okay.
please
So
guys.
Kruthak, based on whatever reading I do, 20 years of evolution of technology that I've seen, I can assure you one thing: we have 581 people on the call. If we add 3 zeros or 4 zeros after 581, if 5 crore people graduated and were doing technology jobs like programming, still there will be still there will be opportunities. Uh, so although AI will solve certain problems and everything, the role of coding development for a long foreseeable future will. Any other questions for anybody?
Yes, one question is there in chat box. I'm reading it for you. Sir, after completing our educational journey and starting our own company, how do we find our first customer? Because today and in the future, there are going to be more and more competition.
Correct. I think first customer is always difficult to have. It takes little bit of perseverance, hard work, and everything. But if you have a good product and a good solution, or if you're able to offer good service, things automatically work out. I know a lot of entrepreneurs who started with 1 or 2 projects and have built large companies and organizations. It's I think if you are passionate and if you are able to show good work, you will definitely win projects. And now there are marketplaces, bidding platforms where you can bid for projects and everything. And India in general, as a country, there is a huge digital transformation happening. So even the local market in India is huge already. So yeah, I mean, you just have to keep your eyes and ears open for those opportunities when you think about it. And if you decide to go into business, make sure you do some basic reading on fundamentals of business, know a little bit about accounting, general processes of HR, how to interact with your co-founder, how to interact with your employees, how to build relationship with customer. Those soft skills, just try to build that in parallel.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Now, yes, Jay.
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask, like, after we have completed our degree, do you recommend that instead of directly starting our own company, we should at least have some work experience so we understand how the company works, like, and then later on do internship, or it is okay to directly start after a degree?
Yeah, Jay, there is no right answer, but I think both things can work. Um I maybe worked for 2-3 months in the industry, but generally I think if you worked in industry, you know how organization structures work. You learn a lot from that experience, and then you go into business. You learned a lot from being in that environment. But it depends on what you want to do. Like if you want to create the next Zoho or FreshBooks, which are the two or Zomato, which are the true unicorns out of India. Maybe you can learn in parallel, but if you're really obsessed with an idea concept that is going to be a true disruptor, maybe you don't need to waste time. Like Bill Gates left halfway through university, if I have my facts correct. Similarly with Facebook and everything. So it depends. There is no right answer, but always exposure, experience is very useful.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Pat?
Sir, what according to you is the difference between a mediocre employee and a successful industrial expert? Because everybody joins industry as a fresher developer, but only few people that we can count with our hands are able to achieve some commendable positions after 10 to 15 years of their career. So, what according to you is the key differentiating factors between these two category of people?
Okay, so I think attributed to few things. One of the things I think you asked was communication and articulation. That is important. Uh, In-depth knowledge, technical knowledge. If you stay in the development environment, your interpersonal and people skills in terms of how you interact with the team, how you interact with the client, all those things are useful. And all those things can be slowly and gradually built. You can read in parallel, you can watch TV programs, you can do some online courses and things like that. And then I think there is an element of luck also. Like if you pick a vertical, if you pick a sector, as you keep on growing your knowledge, domain knowledge in that vertical and sector, or that technology platform, that is the key. Like if somebody has worked in one technology for 7, 8, 9, 10 years, has done different projects, obviously they will have a lot of knowledge. For them to architect a solution is much easy. So I think if you've done your work with dedication, in 5, 10 years you can definitely be in a leadership role. uh, Definitely, like all people, if they have basic acumen, they can all progress. That's the beauty of IT industry.
Thank you, sir.
Box from Rushikesh. Where does India stand in software and technology market compared to Russia, US, and China? How good or bad it will affect India in COVID? Uh,
Russia, US, and China, very interesting choices. What was the name you said?
Rushikesh.
Yeah, Rishikesh. So, yeah, very good question. USA is the birthplace of lot of technology that we use. Lot of innovation comes from USA. So most of the innovation happens in USA. Then all those companies come to India to recruit staff. They take people talent from here to USA and manage and everything. So USA will always continue to have leadership in tech. India is coming up very strongly. Like places like Bangalore are becoming like Silicon Valley of India. India is coming up strongly. China over last 10, 15 years have invested heavily in their language skills. So English language and everything. And China itself is a massive market. The local market itself in China is very, very big. And what you call as Russia, I would term that as Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe is a lot of countries like Poland, Belarus, this Russia is included, Lithuania, a lot of the whole Eastern Europe belt.
Okay, sir. So my another question was that if we want to open a company, like right now, if I want to start my entrepreneurship, what would be the, uh, I mean, like, what is beneficial? I can open it in India or yeah, in overseas. What will beneficial for my company?
Hello. Student, just a minute. Sir is coming back in a few minutes. I think so. Some due to some technical error, he got disconnected. He's connecting in few seconds only. Student, please stay connected. Sir is coming.
Hi everyone. Sorry, we had a small glitch. You can hear me, yeah, now?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
Rishikesh, can you repeat your?
I I remember. I think I was talking about Russia.
Yes, sir.
So Eastern Europe is a big belt. We were even exploring Vietnam as a destination. Vietnam has lot of capabilities now in open source technologies like PHP, React, Python, and platforms like Magento, WordPress, and Shopify and everything. So Eastern European have time zone parity, which makes a big difference to European market. Also from USA, they are not away, like from a time zone perspective. They have a little bit of a cultural fit, which sometimes companies look at, like a cultural fit and cultural match and everything. Uh, so these countries are all going to build their own IT, service network and everything. But India has a huge advantage. India is very ahead of in terms of creating, nurturing, and building talent. So India will not ever be, losing in competition to some of these China or Eastern Europe or those kind of countries.
Yes, Rushikesh have another question with us. My another question was about starting my entrepreneurship. So, in which country would benefit me the most to grow from the startup? Because if US is already leading and will lead the tech industries for decades, then will it be more hard or it will beneficial?
It depends on your business model. US, one another advantage US has is it's got a lot of support for startups, like raising funding, finding mentors, finding co-founders and everything. US has that advantage, but in India also that ecosystem is being created. Universities are supporting entrepreneurship, helping people with ideas. I think it depends on what you're trying to build. Uh, it depends on your business model, where it is applicable. For example, if you wanted to disrupt the agriculture market, uh, then maybe staying in India is better compared to some other place, or starting something in Africa may be possibly better if you were looking at that kind of a business target and everything.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, any other students? Yes, any other students? Okay, so I hope that all the queries of the students are over and
Yes, Khushi ma'am. We would like to thank sir on the behalf of Dr. Amit Ganatra sir, our head of the departments and faculty members, that sir has addressed very well to the students and have respond to all the queries of students. I hope now students are they have now the idea what they have to do in future if they want to go for entrepreneurship. So now on what thing they have to focus, or for higher studies or for placement. So thank you so much, sir, for guiding our students.
No problem. Thank you for the opportunity. It feels like connecting back to past version of me. There is 400, 500 of us here.
Yes, sir.
So absolute pleasure. It was also a great pleasure to talk to all the faculty members also earlier. And
Thank
I'm
you.
hoping to come back and meet everybody in person whenever that happens in future.
Yes, sir, sure. And sir, students would definitely like to have some project definitions on what you were talking about on blockchain with various hotel and tourist industry models for tourist, yes, kind of projects. So students will definitely work on those projects. So we look forward for those definitions also from you.
All right. Okay. Yes, I will work with your team on that.
Yes, sir. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you, everyone.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
all the students are requested to join their respective labs and lectures. Thank you all.